Good morning and welcome to Africa Today. I'm your host, Ben Jeju. I have a pleasure today to host two leaders, African leaders, very young entrepreneurs. So we're going to talk about a lot of things today, but mostly concerning about Africa and the involvement of the young African leaders. We're going to have Samuel Surapel, Omega Tawarni. Samuel is the founder of Massa Collabs, and Omega is the Immigrant Community Service Inc. The founder,
Executive
Director. So, Samuel, we're going to start with you. You are the founder of Massa Collabs.
Yes.
Can you tell us what you do with Massa Collab?
Yes, Massa Collabs is a Silver Spring, Maryland-based advisory that works to support the growth of early-stage for-profit, non-profit, and creative entrepreneurs. We've been in existence for about 5.5 years, working to support everything from agriculture entrepreneurs to creatives to app developers in West Africa. We've also held a lot of ecosystem building activities, be it meetups, to now working collaboratively the last 3 years on the African Diaspora Entrepreneurship Summit.
Okay, thank you. Omega?
Yes,
when it comes to you as the executive director, right?
Yes, so Immigrant Community Services is a community organization that works with refugees and immigrants in the DC metro area. Mm-hmm. We provide services to help them assimilate into the new culture. We provide services to help them empower themselves, mm-hmm. so they can take care of themselves without becoming public charges. So we provide health services, we provide economic development programs. We also provide senior care services to help culturally sensitive programs for the immigrants and refugees in the area. And part of our program, which is what we're going to talk today about, is entrepreneurship, which is part of the economic development portfolio.
Okay, so now we have introduced you both, mm-hmm. about what you're doing with your company, with your activities. The reason why I do the introducing separately is just because you guys came together to work on a typical organization, some things that is there for the African diaspora. Mm-hmm. It's called the AFDES. Can you tell us what AFDES stands for?
Sure. So AFDES is African Diaspora Entrepreneurship Summit. I had to think about it. So this is basically an economic empowerment program, right, that is open to Africans, to everybody in the DMV region. Mm-hmm. So we provide this as a platform to help encourage entrepreneurship, to help build on resources for the existing entrepreneurships, and to provide them with resources, assistance, technical assistance, financial resources, or just information that helps them either start their own business, grow the business, or scale it up.
Where the idea came from?
So this idea came from, well, I think The primary organization behind all this was African Affairs Advisory Group of Montgomery County. Okay. They were approached by various partners of the African Diaspora Marketplace this is about 3-4 years ago, and I think the partners were USAID, Western Union, George Washington, Home Strings, and a few other, the other group and a few other partners. So this group of people was looking to help fund projects by African diaspora on the continent.
Okay.
So as a way to transfer knowledge, expertise, and stuff like that. So they called for this competition. They were looking for entrance into the program. You had to be US based and you had to want to set up the program in Africa. So there was a huge response. About 400 people across the country responded, and they went through different stages until they came down to the final 35.
Okay.
So the 35 finalists had to come to Washington for the presentation of the winners. And the partners, USAID and Co, were looking for someone to host, and they chose the African Affairs Advisory Group. And we organized the event for USAID, Western Union, and them, and there were winners that were selected. They were given financial resources, cash, they were given technical assistance from the partners, and they went to work on their projects. Okay. So that's how this program came about. So in the following years, the original partners were unable to do it, to continue the program. So we, as the African Affairs and the African community, decided to continue the program, but we tailored it to fit our situation. So it is not as huge as the Western Union one with the 400 entrants. So now we have had our version of the program for 3 years. This is the 3rd year now that we are holding and we called it the African Diaspora Entrepreneurship Summit.
So, Samuel, if I understand what she's explaining about the AFDES, it seems like you guys trying to have a way to diversify like your activities and the business from other young African creators. Is that right?
It is right. There's such an untapped pool of entrepreneurial spirit that exists within our community here in Montgomery County, which has such I think we just heard this week that almost half of the population in Montgomery County is foreign born, and about 20% of that is the African immigrant community. And many of those are either existing entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. That's just in Montgomery County. If you think about the broader DC region, you can just multiply that number, and then also other parts of the Mid-Atlantic. So we felt that it was important to sort of continue the conversation, continue the programming that provided an avenue for entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs also, to get inspiration, to make connections, to hear from really thought leaders across the spheres of technology, agriculture, health, entrepreneurship, and even from local government that's involved in procurement, so that they can really see the wide range of opportunities that are in front of them.
Okay, so I know a lot of Africans, especially young Africans, they are very dedicated to the continent and try to do a lot of things. But most of the time, they started well by explaining what they want to do. The ideas are there, but the problem is in the long run, they don't stand for what they first say they're going to do. So how do you think you guys can improve the quality of community service or just leadership among the African community?
So we believe by providing programs such as AFDES is the only way we can help the young and the upcoming to get steady on their feet, to establish themselves, and then they can project what they're doing here on the continent. So it is difficult for somebody who's just settled in the US, who's not yet established, to start helping on the continent. You have to be well established in what you do before you can try to help somebody else. So this program is to help our people here to establish themselves, to grow their businesses, to increase their cash flow so that they can have that money to invest in projects overseas. And so we are looking in the long, like the big picture, the long term. We start small, but we think big. So this is the small footprint that we are establishing here now, such that in the future, 10 years from now, this summit will be something we could probably be even holding it on the continent, because that's how we envision this to grow.
How do you deal with the communication? Is the African community aware about what you're doing, what's going on, AFDES and all that?
Absolutely. So we are working with the African Union. The African Union ambassador is actually going to be our keynote speaker. We are in touch with the DC Commission on African Affairs. We have some of their commissioners participating in the program, on the panels as speakers. We are also in touch with the Maryland, the statewide African Affairs Commission, the different schools, business schools in the community, in the local community, Bowie State, Montgomery College, and young African entrepreneurs. So we have a wide reach of people.
Wonderful. So let's go to the program. What's going to be happening that day? Remind us the day of the AFDES. Tell us what's going to happen that day.
Okay, so the event is on October the 5th. It's a Saturday, October 5, from 8 a.m. up until 6 p.m. That's the formal program. And it is in Silver Spring at IO Spaces on Georgia Avenue. And basically, as part of the program, we have a multi-pronged approach to the program. We have plenary sessions where we're going to have panelists talk about the different aspects that are associated with entrepreneurship. So we have a plenary session on procurement, we have a plenary session on development, on regulatory affairs, the legal considerations when starting a business. We also have a pitch competition whereby entrepreneurs and would-be entrepreneurs will pitch their products, and they get judged. There are prizes to be won. We also have a hackathon where actual entrepreneurs who are in practice are getting a solution for their existing problem, and this is going to be crowd hacked. So those are some of the things. And we have an innovation award for innovative folks.
Very interesting. Where do you stand from that?
So I will be a part with other sort of duties for the organization. I'll be helping with the hackathon, actually helping organize the hackathon portion, working with the local small business, and also bringing together the students that will try to dissect the business problem that the business is facing to come up with an innovative solution. And as well as supporting with sponsorship development and other activities.
Very interesting. This is Sunday Guest with Ben Jejo as a host, and I have here my guests is Samuel Surafel and Omega Tawonesi when we come back.
Do you want to promote your business? Do you want to talk about your nonprofit organization? Do you want to talk about your culture? Introducing the online web TV, Africa Today. We are live every Sunday at 3 p.m. Our shows are 3 p.m. Sunday Guests with Elaine Pierre. 4 p.m. This Time Africa with San Natilda Banga. 5 p.m. Transformation Point with Dr. Natalie Kamsudomo. 5:30 Cyber Connect with Jean Bosco Fogham. You can watch us live at the same time on 4 platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and using the Africa Today app. Download our app today for Android or Apple. Promote your business today. For more information, go to www.africtoday.com. Africa Today, the best of digital TV.
Welcome back. This is Sunday Guest. I'm with Samuel Surafel and Omega Tawanesi. Samuel, you were talking earlier on about how we came together with AFDES. It seems like it's a big partnership, going from taking a lot of different entities and African leaders to merge their energy and their vision, work together through AFDES. How the partnership is working and where you want to go with that partnership through the AFDES.
So it's actually quite interesting how we were able to really take something that had the budget of both a leading development organization, a major corporation like Western Union, and accomplish somewhat similar. We're not going to be as huge as Omega mentioned, but to the scale that was possible, but also at the quality level that's the same, with almost a fraction of, actually it is a fraction of the budget that happened. And that was really based upon the goodwill and the collaboration of these entities. Both they were representing the private sector by way of my company and another firm, IO Spaces, the nonprofit community from Immigrant Community Services, as well as from the local government, which we had a liaison, as well as members of the African Affairs Advisory Group who would participate, but then also kind of an ear and almost an indirect connection to different offices by way of this having been born in the African Affairs Advisory Group, which essentially sits as an advisor to the county executive from the African community. So we basically, on the first AFDES, which happened 3 years ago, were able to organize the entire conference, which was it's on most of the clips you can find online, in 1 month with very little, if not, no budget, you could say, compared to the previous one. And that is a testament to the ability for us to really engage each other, find the fit, work together collaboratively, put all our hands in there and execute on something of that nature, which we've been able to do in years following, years 2 and then now in years 3. So in the future, I think really the most important lesson out of this is how you can, when they talk about public-private partnerships, I feel like without even us naming it, that this is a great example of a public-private partnership from these various people and entities of different parts of the for-profit, non-profit sector and government, but doing it with one mission and doing it collaboratively to make it successful.
Wow, I'm kind of impressed about all these that you're explaining to, and we know that the power is unity. And it's very interesting that we realize that young Africans, especially leaders, so they understood before that we need to unite our effort. But seeing you guys doing what you're doing, Omega, how if you have today to explain people what we need to be part of the people that change the world in one unity, in one entity, big entity, what do you have to tell them? I know you guys work hard to get here,
yes,
but there's a lot of background. There's some things that happen in the background. How
Absolutely.
You can give that people that look at it, our viewers, to know exactly what's going on. How do you get there?
Yeah, so I would say the main thing is fellowshipping, like community, being out there and knowing what each and every person is doing. So for us to put all this together is because there was an existing network. I knew what Mansaco Labs does.
Right.
They knew what Immigrant Community Services do. We have young African professionals. We see them. So whatever niche or area you are, be visible. So when an opportunity like this comes, people can just pluck you from and bring you together and do it. And that's how we have done it. We know organizations that are doing certain things in community. We know service providers, or we know businesses that have certain lines that are in line with what we we are doing. So we approach those and say, hey, can we partner? This is what's in it for you, this is what's in it for us, and this is what's in it for the greater community. So let's do this. So it's basically doing what you do well, and being visible, and being open to working with others. That's all I can say.
And the quality of the human resources in terms of the aspiration of the diaspora in the U.S. and around the world, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we have a huge base of resources here that are actually underutilized, especially in the diaspora.
Right.
Because we just don't know what is what, where who's doing what. We are fragmented. So if we do it together, critical mass.
Wow. So and now I know you say that it's just Southeast that's going on here in the DMV area. Are you guys planning to extend it to the other states?
Yeah. So I think eventually, as Omega mentioned, the long-term vision is to grow AFDES and really be something that can be attractive nationally and internationally. Because of its uniqueness and how it's formed, who's involved with it. And scale, we're constantly looking for more sponsors and supporters that can help build that dream. I think Omega will mention a few of the sponsors that we have for this year.
Okay.
But yes.
And eventually sometime we can expect you guys to have a summit in Africa?
Absolutely. That's in the big picture. We certainly, because it's an African Diaspora Entrepreneurship Summit, and we want to encourage that interaction between diaspora and the continental Africans. So we definitely need to do that. And we also want to encourage migration going the other way instead of going this way.
Absolutely.
Because everything is not here. All we need is back on the continent. We just don't know how to capitalize on it. And we want to open everybody's eyes. There are a lot of entrepreneurs on the continent, almost more than here, because in my country, for example, the unemployment rate is very high for various reasons, and almost everyone is a small-scale entrepreneur, whether they are an entrepreneur by choice or by necessity, but they have the skill, and at some point we have to capitalize on that and grow what they know into something that can move the country and the continent ahead.
Wow. And can we know who's on board in terms of the sponsorship and the partnership?
Yes, we've been very fortunate. Montgomery County is a sponsor for us. Life Asset, a local microfinance organization with a large database of micro entrepreneurs, is on board. Mansacore Labs here with Samuel, Immigrant Community Services, and then we have our Wafamba Porter Consulting. We have Bowie State University, and we have a New Wave Technology Company, and we also have I have one other.
That's right. We will come back to that.
Yes, IO Spaces, African Union. So we have a whole lot on our website. By the way, it is AFDES Notre. So www.afdes.net. We have a list of the speakers, the sponsors, the community partners, and the program.
And the key speaker is the African Unite
ambassador. Yes. So Dr. Arikana Chiwombori Kwao, she's the AU ambassador to the US. She will be speaking at the day. Because they have a program, I think it's called the Wakanda Village, that they are working on, and this ties in line with us. The theme for this event is we are our resources. So if we look within ourselves, we have the ability. We don't have to wait for someone else to come and give us handouts, or like Samuel mentioned, the private-public partnership. Between that, we have enough resources to move ourselves forward.
I always was thinking that we have so many resources in Africa, and Africa, the continent, is a very wealthy continent. So we here as an African, it's always good to see you as a young leader, a young African, Pan-African, working so hard, putting all your energy into one box to make change. So, and we need that change. So in terms of like change, potential change, it can happen through AFDES. other things are you guys thinking to do? I know you are part of a lot of activities, and you have a lot of energy, and I salute that, so you too. So how you can just mobilize that and bring change in the other part, like especially on youth, and I know that's your area, you work on with the youth, young people.
So I would say in the long run, what we are trying to do is create institutions, because we all know that for any community to move forward progressively, there have to be institutions that are back that community. And we can see from here, especially in the US where we live, there are a lot of organizations that do certain things, that back certain causes, that support certain type groups of people, and it is using the backing of those organizations that these persons progress. And it is something that we don't have, because maybe we are new immigrants. We have not established that yet in the community that we live. So what we are trying to do now by AFDES and similar events, and by bringing together the different companies, the for-profit and non-for-profit, we are trying to create institutions that we can rely on, that we can use to mobilize resources, mobilize educational information, and move our people together collectively. So it's an issue of creating institutions. And AFDES will be an institution.
Absolutely. You have the same vision?
I do. And I also sort of look at it from opening up from the business perspective, opening up the funnel to increasing the number of people who can take that risk and say, I have an idea, I have a dream, I want to start this process of entrepreneurship and explore how I can make it happen. And then being able to follow a lot of what Omega was saying, connecting with these institutions for their success. Because at the end of the day, we need folks that create jobs for either their young people or running jobs or making jobs through their companies or others. But we need the jobs that employ people, and only entrepreneurs make jobs. It's a very simple, for me, it's a very simple formula. If you want people to be employed, they need jobs. Who makes jobs? The entrepreneurs or business people. So our main task, if we want to affect the young people and make them be employed and have that, is to help as many people become entrepreneurs as possible, because those will be the ones that employ the young folks.
So what makes a good entrepreneur? Because if I want to be an entrepreneur, is some things, but being a good entrepreneur that really successful, how to become one of those?
Well, I'll tell you this. There's a lot of factors that will involved with that. Both your ability to sort of find an opportunity, find a problem that needs a solution, take the risk to help provide that solution, and stay the course. Okay, but and then all the skills, finance, and everything that's required to make that happen. But the key one that we miss in our community oftentimes is the ability to collaborate with others where you don't have the skill or the capacity to move your project forward. So if the AFDES collaboration of organizations can be a model for an entrepreneur, that you can come with someone with a different interest or whatever and find that middle ground to move a common project forward, I think that's a great takeaway from what we do.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. So that ability to collaborate and to know what you bring to the table and what you need, because sometimes you show up but you don't really know what you need, so you can't approach the other people who could be able to help you. So know what you offer and what you need somebody else to offer for you. That's collaboration.
Wonderful. We're going to one more time give the information out there for the AFDES, and let us know again, AFDES stand for what, and the date and the time and all that.
Absolutely.
And hope all the viewers will be there at that time.
Yes, so African Diaspora Entrepreneurship Summit, that's what AFDES is. It is happening Saturday, October 5 at IO Spaces on Georgia Avenue in downtown Silver Spring, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's the main event. And then after 6, we have a networking program hosted by IO Spaces. So this is an opportunity for you to come, if you have an idea that you want to bring to life, if you already have an existing business, if you are looking to fund someone with a business, if you're just looking for information, this is a great opportunity for you to come and interact with other people, talk to like-minded folks, and it's a win-win for all in attendance.
And the website is www.afdes.net, AFDES.net.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. This is Sunday Guest. I was your host, Ben Jeju, and my guest was Samuel Surafel and Omega Tawonervi. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and of course on Amazon Fire Stick. Thank you, and see you next time on Africa Today. Ben Jeju.